How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Loose Cannons, a very special Loose Cannons. As you can see already, as you saw from the thumbnail, not just because we're back off international break, but we've got a very special guest in the building. Big up Jordan, big up James, but forget them for a sec. It's not about them or me. It's about Mr. Darren Bent in the cut, 100 goal club, ex-England international, big Arsenal fan. I won't mention the clubs he played for, but he's done his thing across the league. What are you saying, Darren? Thanks for coming on, man.
No worries, man. Anytime, man. Pleasure to be here.
Look at the trainer collection as well.
Yeah, so it's been going on for a little bit of a while.
So we've just started recording, and your connection's done a madness, Darren. But we're gonna power through. We're gonna power through. But one thing though,
could you see? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. It's a little bit blurry, but let's see if it gets any better. I just wanted to say thank you for coming on as well, as Turkish says. You won't have seen the show. I don't expect you to have seen the podcast, but every week we have a guest on, and these two will be gassing up the guests, right? But I just want to say, like, this week on the pod, we've got a legend. We've actually got a guy. You coming on the pod this week. We've had some good guests, but thank you very much for coming on the pod because you've just elevated the pod times 10. So love. I want to say that.
No worries, man. No worries, man. I was always going to come on for you. No problem at all.
Love, brother, love. I appreciate your time. Appreciate it.
Dare you say the best guess yet, Jordan? Or
I reckon so. I think best guess so far. Yeah. I'd go that far to say best guess so far. Yeah.
The rank.
Darren, you're an amazing guest, but you really should know that Jordan says this every week. But you're genuinely a brilliant guest. And everyone is, but thank you so much for joining us. Jordan's got this. I mean, to be fair, Jordan, you'd be an amazing manager. Like every single game, you know. Do you remember when Arteta gave the pep talk to it's not Steve McFarlane, Stuart McFarlane, before the Tottenham game?
Oh yeah.
That's just get Jordan to do it, man.
I thought you was about to say when Arteta gave the team talk to Steve McLaren, and I thought we was going to go into a bit of Jamaica.
We'll get there.
But international break, I mean, just off the back of that, all our countries are still represented. England are through, Jamaica are in the playoffs, Turkey and Republic of Ireland are in the playoffs, Italy are in the playoffs. So, I mean, as far as international breaks go, it's been okay.
Can I just say, I mean, Darren, I know you're of Jamaican heritage as well. What happened this week with that 0-0 draw was a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. I mean, they're in the playoffs in March, but they're going to get a big boy. So I think it's very unlikely Jamaica make it, to the next round. I don't know what you think, Darren, but I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, it was a tough one because you look at some of the players as well, like that Jamaica have got that play in the Premier League, that play across some of the big leagues in the world. I just thought that it was a no-brainer that they'd win. I was gutted. Even the timing of McLaren deciding to kind of resign, I thought was a bit strange because you got the playoffs coming up. I thought maybe if they'd gone out the playoffs, he might have said, you know what, I've taken the team as far as I can go, so I'm going to step down. But the fact he's opted to do that before one of Jamaica's biggest games in their history. I know 98 they were at the World Cup, but it just surprised me that he opted to use that time to kind of go, no, this is it. I can't go any further. So that was a surprise. But listen, who knows, man? You're going to need some of your players to step up now. As I said, you've got some big players there that have played at big clubs in the Premier League. They're going to have to lean on their experience now. No more excuses. They've got a second chance, really, to get through. They've got to take it.
Honestly, I don't think Steve McLaren knew that you lot are still in the playoffs. Because the way he said it was, I hope to see you in the world.
And
you can still make it fun.
Yeah, you're right. And he pre-wrote the resignation speech. He had the speech planned and written before the game. Who writes the speech before?
He said one love. He was ready. He knew what he was
He had that all planned out. He was bouncing regardless. He was gone. Scumbag.
But Jordan, you did mention when Spain smoked us. I mean, we got a bit of pride back over there. You know, we've travelled over to Seville, got a 2-2 draw out of it. You see Ireland, Troy Parrott, a hat trick and 2 against Portugal.
You are never going to let me live down that Spain smoking of Turkey, are you? I mean, it was one battering. I called it factually, and now you're going to just bring it up every single time Turkey play or get a draw. Is that what you're doing?
I mean, yeah, we have to do that. And let's make the World Cup, and then I'll bring it up again. But listen, it's not international.
Worth the trip for you, Turkish.
Huh?
I'm glad it was worth the trip for you.
I know. I nearly, halfway through, I was thinking, when I didn't see Gyokeres starting, Yildiz starting, I thought, oh, what have we done here? But they pulled it out. They pulled it out. So yeah, happy man. But listen, that's the good side of the international break. All of our countries are still represented, whether straight through or in the playoffs.
Nigeria.
But none of us are Nigerian here, bro. Why you lot got beef? I don't get it. What's Nigeria and Jamaica got beef for? But yeah, Nigerians, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was Jordan Jarrett Bryan. That's his socials as well. So if you want to abuse him, then go over there. And in the comments, we appreciate it. But listen, that's the good side of the international break. We welcomed it as Arsenal fans, considering our injury record, especially the attacking unit. 6 players out for that game against Sunderland, the 2-2 draw. But I don't know if the international break is much welcomed off the back of it, considering big news regarding a few players, but damaging news regarding Gabriel, who at this moment in time seems to be out for at least 3 to 4 weeks, maybe more, according to David Ornstein. But that's the big news of the international break for us, and not just for us. I mean, for Liverpool, for Manchester City, for the league, because in my opinion, Gabriel has been our most important player this season by a considerable margin, if you take his impacts defensively and offensively. So Man City, Liverpool might be licking their lips at this moment in time, but much was said about our summer. We had a massive summer, a lot of money spent, the biggest squad in the league, the most depth. We've learned from our mistakes and all of that. Darren, ex-professional, you've been in this league on international breaks, because I'm kind of angry with a few people. Ancelotti, I'm furious about. I don't know why he's saying we're sorry about this. Don't play the guy. Gabriel, I think he holds some accountability here. I think in modern day football, it's different to 20 years ago, where it wasn't as hard work and pressing as, in training. Players are so finely tuned now that I think anytime a player gets an opportunity to rest a bit, they should rest. And I look at Arteta and the team at Arsenal as well. But am I wrong? I'm just a fan, Darren. Is there more to it behind the scenes? It's just Brazil-Senegal. It's a friendly. Why is he on that pitch?
Well, first of all, it's tough because, listen, representing your country is unbelievable. Like I said, there's been times where you turn up and you go, oh, you're back here again. But I think to play for Brazil, certainly to wear that badge, I think it's easier said than done by going, do you know what, I need a break. I mean, you could say the same about England managers as well, because even with Declan Rice, man, he plays every minute of every international. He always starts, regardless whether they change a team around. He plays. Saka's probably the same as well. Whenever he's available, he tends to start and play a lot of minutes. So, unfortunately, I just think that's what top level football is now. I think these guys are so finely tuned. And certainly, it was when I got in the squad with Capello. Before Capello was the manager at England, training used to be quite, I wouldn't say lethargic, but it was like you kind of go through the motions, a little kind of like five-a-side, and it was quite low tempo. It was only when Capello came in now that it turned like it was like pre-season for your club. So you're going to international break, you're working hard, you're sprinting, you're putting the effort in. And that's when I went, oh. And then apparently from some of the guys I've spoke to, that's what it is now. It's no longer going away with England, having your feet up, training's maybe not as intense. Now it's like the foot to the metal, keep going, high red zone minutes, really putting that work in. So maybe you're right, some of these players probably are due a rest. But again, the modern day football is, the moment, certainly when you're a manager of Brazil, you lose one game, the pressure's on. Do you know what I mean? So these managers, unfortunately, haven't got time to just go, do you know what, give Gabriel a rest. Because I agree with you. Like, I think it was last season for me, it changed because I was always panicking. If Saliba got injured, what do we do? But for me, it's flipped all of a sudden now. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, Gabriel's out. Yeah, Mosquera's is good, Hencapi's good, but Gabriel is our leader. He's the personality. He's the guy at the back that you go, we'll be all right now. Gabriel's there. So that's where I'm a little bit like, oh, it is a blow, but hopefully he comes back soon. And when he comes back, the only good thing is that we've got people ready there now that can like step in and kind of replace him. You're never going to get the same level, but we've got options. I think that's the big thing. We've got options.
Yeah, James, Jordan, we've got options. We don't have the Kivior option no more. A body that stepped in a couple of times over the years. End of last season, big games, Real Madrid. He's moved on, but Darren's right. We've got a couple new signings, Mosquera, Hincapié. Mosquera actually stepped in for Saliba for a few games, and that's where he built a little name for himself early on in the season. But I also agree with Darren that Gabriel is our most important, leader on that pitch too. And Jordan, let's start with you. Are you worried more defensively with this loss, or are you worried more offensively? I asked that because I'm worried more on the offensive side. I think there's more pressure now on the attack than the defense. I think the standards of the defense are at a point where one player out shouldn't affect it too much. But I think what he does for the offense and taking away the attention from the maybe lack of open play, goals and chance creation, I think now I'm looking at Saka more. I'm looking at Gyokeres when he comes back more. Madweke when he comes back. Eze. You know, there's players now I'm looking at the attack more so than Saliba, Mosquera, Hincapié. How are you feeling about it?
I think first of all, the whole thing for me has been blown out of proportion. I think this whole Gabriel being out and everybody losing their heads, I think everyone's gone OTT about it. I mean, just first of all, just going back to your point about Ancelotti and Brazil, I don't know if I agree, Turkish. I think that Ancelotti's got to do what he's got to do, and I think that he can't be thinking about Gabriel's domestic and long-term well-being. He's got to think about. I think it was a friendly, wasn't it? It was against Senegal. Was a friendly. Even as a friendly, I think you've got to put yourselves in the shoes of Brazilians and the Brazilian FA. Their interests are winning those games. They want to go into a World Cup next year. They've not won a World Cup for how long? It's been a long time.
2002 was the last one. Yeah.
There you go. And for Brazil to not win a World Cup, I mean, have they made a final since 02? Even 02?
No.
I don't think they've made a final.
No.
Now for Brazil,
You know, the closest they got is when they got walloped by Germany. Remember, was it like 7?
There you go. On their home turf. So I think if we just take off our Arsenal hat for a second and put on our Brazil hats, they don't care about Arsenal North London derby on the weekend. They don't care about Arsenal's title ambitions. They care about beating Senegal and getting ready for a World Cup that they have to win. It's in America. You know, a lot of it's going to be in Mexico. The climate favors them. They have to come correct. So this is all preparation for them. So for us, it's a blow. But I wouldn't put any blame on Brazil. If I'm Brazilian, I'm like, forget Loose Cannons podcast and what they think. Forget Arsenal fans. Forget Mikel Arteta. Forget North London forever. You mad? You better beat Senegal and play the best team. And right now, is there a centre back in world football hotter than Gabriel? So I don't place any.
Jordan, sorry to cut you, but there's a certain level of responsibility here, though, because Gabriel really didn't have a pre-season. He's come off a massive injury as well.
Whose fault is that? I heard a really good stat the other day. I think it was Curtis was saying, apparently Gabriel only played 1 or 2 pre-season games. I think
he only played the 2 Emirates games. He went on tour, but he never came on, which was really, that's why I was surprised he started the season.
Yeah.
And there's been 3 cup games that he's either played in or come on for. So let's start looking at ourselves. We're talking about season, load management and looking at how many games he's played. Let's not look at Brazil or Carla. Let's look at what we've been doing. We've played him in games we didn't need to play him in. So I'm sorry, I'm not placing any blame on anybody. I'm not even placing blame on Mikel Arteta. The games he's brought him on because he felt he needed to bring him on for. We can disagree with that. My point is, I think this whole thing about Gabriel being out, being a big blow is overblown, right? Is Gabriel better? Are we better with Gabriel in our team than out? 100%. Is Gabriel the hottest centre-back in the league right now? 100%. Would I rather Gabriel play on the weekend? Yes. But you can't have it both ways. Arsenal fans have been lauding the fact that we've got the best squad, especially at centre-back position for the past 3 months. Oh, we've got 2 players in every position. We've got strength in depth. We've got a lit squad now. We can't have that and then start crying when we get a player out injured. The whole point of collecting centre-backs in the last 3 seasons was for times like this. It's unfortunate. Injuries happen. And my final point would be, the bigger issue for me isn't that Gabriel is going to miss the next few games. It's a blow, of course it is. But no one's mentioned the fact that, and I haven't fact-checked this, but if I'm not mistaken, Gabriel's got 3 goals and I think 10 games against Spurs. So forget the bigger picture. In this particular fixture, Gabriel scores against Spurs. That's the bigger issue for me than the fact that he's out injured. It's 3 goals in 10 games for a centre-back is a very good record against one team. That's a very good record. So that is, for me, the bigger issue. And I just think, let's stop crying about it. If we lose this game on the weekend, Turkish, if I hear anybody bringing up Gabriel, I'm going to lose my head. Win the game. Stop complaining. Stop.
No, I hear you.
I'm not hearing it. I'm sorry.
But there is a listen. You know, at the best of times, I'm as pessimistic as you, but it is unusual though the amount of injuries we've got, Jordan. Like, let's be real. I think the Gabriel stuff. I agree with you. I think we've got enough to accommodate, especially defensively, and the attack needs to step up. But it's on top of, we went into the international break hoping at least 3 of these 6 attackers are back, and on top of the Gabriel news, it's Gyokeres doubt. Havertz has had a setback. Jesus is not quite ready yet. So that side isn't going as smoothly as we would have liked. And on top of that, we've got, here you go, here's your best centre-back out as well. So I agree with you in terms of how overblown it's been in terms of himself. But I think overall, there's certain, it's unusual the amount of injuries. And you're right with muscle injuries and Mikel and the playing time. There's an obvious, trend there. But there's also Odegaard shoulder, comes back knee. There's also Handbrake knee after 3. There's also impact injuries that combined, we are threadbare now all of a sudden.
There's some bad luck there. Yeah. Sorry, before James comes in, there's some bad luck there for sure. But let's be honest, guys. I don't want to say this. If any team this weekend should really be complaining about injuries, it's probably Spurs.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's probably Spurs. They've got injuries. Probably they've been out longer than us. Yeah. Chelsea have had their best player out for most of the season. Man City have had their second best player out for most of the season. Come on, guys. I'm not hearing it. If we lose in the weekend, we can dissect that, right? But I don't want to hear anybody talk about Gabriel come Monday morning. That is not a reason to be losing to Spurs. I would be saying beat Spurs if it was at Spurs. We're at home as well. Win the game. Let's move on to Bayern Munich. I'm sorry. I'm not hearing any nonsense. No excuses.
So,
sorry, Jay.
I think you made some great points there, especially around the amount of minutes we've given Gabriel this season. I mean, it's a good point. Barely plays pre-season, suddenly starts every Premier League game or whatever it is. So I agree with you, especially when he was a doubt for the Palace home game. That was a big game, but you're right. There are some opportunities to maybe rest and rotate him. There's 2 conversations, because I completely agree. When the full-time whistle goes against Tottenham and we haven't beaten them, I'm going to, Gabriel will not be at the forefront of my mind. I'll be sat there going, we'll look at everything that went wrong, because someone like a Mosquera and Capia Calafiori, one of them, a 30 to 40 million pound centre back, has come in. When you look at the rest of the quality of the team, we're at home, like you said. I'm not looking at the Gabriel injury then, but it goes to a point that I've probably made 15 times on this pod already. And sorry if I sound like a broken record, but you look at any team that's won the title, Liverpool last season, Conte's Chelsea in 2017, Mourinho's Chelsea in 2015, Sir Alex Ferguson in 2009, whatever it is, you remember their 11s. And the reason you remember their 11s is because they went out on that pitch week in, week out. Now, of course, you had players that missed a couple games. You had the odd player that would miss a spell of the season. But generally, you just knew. And my biggest concern with Arsenal is the squad is very, very good. But I've never known a squad to just win the title. I've never known a collective of 18, 19 players, and I might be wrong, who've just gone, kind of all together we came through. They talk about, and I think a Man City coach talked about it, The Athletic did a piece on it. They talk about the momentum of getting that same group out on the pitch time and time and time again. I remember Kevin De Bruyne, when they won the treble, they were asked, how did you manage fatigue? And he went, you don't really get fatigued because you're playing every 3 games. You're kind of in the rhythm of it. You're not training as much. So you go again. Darren, you can speak to that more actually, but I imagine that there's something about that continuity. So as much as we talk about managing workload, it's also sometimes you get in a rhythm where the training, I imagine, goes down a little bit, but you're getting the games in and out, and that team builds a momentum. And I worry about this Arsenal team losing that because of the amount of injuries we've had.
Yeah, listen, it's a great point, because you're right. I think the best teams when you look at it, it's about relationships on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you're chopping and changing, and I understand it now, because these top teams are playing so many games now, adding competitions, making competitions bigger. You need to build up that rapport. So you're right. Certainly some of the players that I played with, and I'm like, well, you're playing every 3 days. They used to say, yeah, but the training was so kind of minimal, because every 3 days they were playing, you almost build up, you almost training without knowing it. You're building that rapport. And I 100% agree with you. I think, yes, if Arsenal are going to win the league this season, it's really, really nice to have options. But I'd like the stable 11 to be there, and then you can change 1 or 2 depending on the fixture, or if it's a Carling Cup game. I don't really like. I know we're getting quite further into it, but you make minor little adjustments. But the fact when you're chopping and changing 4, 5, 6 players, I'm with you. The best teams that I played against are the, and certainly some of the Arsenal teams that I played against. I could name them from start to like from 1 to 11, and I'd go, he's going to be playing there, he's going to be playing there, and you knew what you was coming up against. I think sometimes it can not, I won't say disrupt or disjoint a squad or a team, but it can be a little bit stop-start. You know what I mean? And then you are giving other teams excuses to kind of go, well, they didn't win it because of this reason, didn't win it that because of that reason. But I think Arteta is trying to get that 11. I think he knows in his head what 11 he wants to play week in, week out. But just unfortunately for us, we haven't seen it because of the injuries. You want to see Gyokeres, you want to see Eze from the left, you want to see Saka, you want to see obviously Zeba, Mendy, Rice, Odegaard. The back four speaks for itself. But because he gets Saka back, then Odegaard goes down. Odegaard goes back, Martinelli's out. Do you know what I mean? It's so many moving parts, which is why I'm with Jordan in terms of the excuses, because we've got a squad built to be able to handle these situations. But I think in any successful team, the foundations of a team needs to be there. And if that's 1 to 11 and you can change little bits here and there, of course you need luck with the injuries. I think you're in a better place when you know 1 to 11, right? This is the team. But if this happens, then here's plan B, plan C, rather than just chopping and changing for the sake of it.
So sorry to jump in there, Darren, but because you're an ex-pro and you know what you're talking about, isn't there a big difference though when 20 years ago you could tell me that wasn't there a whole like if you're the better player, you might get a lighter training session because we need to keep you ready for this game coming up. There was a bit of that back in the day, right? Whereas now it's every player finely tuned regardless. So I think that also leads to, I think James said it. It's weird when you're so finely tuned, it feels like you're more prone to something coming because, a lot's been said about the last 20 years and VAR and referees and the football changing so much for the good. Because remember the leg breaks 20 years ago and the amount of injuries there. But I think the amount of injuries hasn't changed. It's gone down a different route. And I think that's because of modern day systems, modern day managers, modern day requirements for these players. Don't you think that also means that you can't have a 1 to 11 anymore if you're playing this way of football, because you're bound to get a player or two out across the season because you require so much from them week in, week out?
But you know what though, when you go back, and you're right to a point, but when you talk about now, it's technology. So back then we didn't have technology. So basically you get injured, like you're sending players out there, but there was no real data to back it up. Whereas nowadays, that's why they're so finely tuned. Because of the data nowadays, the moment they start touching red zone, it's like, right, get him off. Get him, he might injury if so. There is that element to it. Whereas back in the day, like the only time you'd really know that you were injured if you pulled the hamstring, if you felt it. Whereas now they can tell you that before that even happens. But also as well, when you made about the finely tuned athletes back like now and back then, some of the top players I played with, people like Wayne Rooney, he hated missing games. He didn't care if he played on the Monday, on the Wednesday, on the Friday. He used to moan like crazy. Well, I don't care. Like if we're playing every 3 days, you're not wrapping me in cotton wool. I have to play. And I think a lot of the top players now, I think some of them still are like that. But I think there is a mentality kind of shift in terms of there are some players nowadays that are top players that are a little bit like, nah, do you know what? I'll probably leave this week. Like they're almost letting people make excuses for them in terms of going, no, I don't care if we're playing. I want to play for Arsenal or whoever it is. I want to win football matches. Like Declan Rice is a prime example. He will play every single week in every single game and he won't moan. And he's a finely tuned. He's as good as they are. But he's just someone that wants to play games, doesn't want to make excuses. And I think not every top pro now is like Declan.
Yeah, definitely.
Darren, can I ask you a question, Darren? On that point, do you think then we'll get to a point, maybe in the next 5 or maybe in 10 years, where because of what Turkish has outlined there, do you think we'll get to a point where a top player, will think about the longevity of his season and even career, and actually not only in his head think, boy, you know what, I could do with sitting this weekend out, actually vocalize that to the coach and say, coach, I'm one of your top 3 players. I think this Saturday or this Wednesday, just drop me out. I think I'm feeling like I'm getting to that red zone. Do you think we get to a point where players start the opposite of Rooney? Rooney, you're saying, vocally said, play me in every single game. I don't care how fit I am, play me. Do you think we get to a point where players start going the opposite way and like saying, you know what, that game, I think, boss, just you're better off just taking me out on that one and I'll play on the weekend?
Do you know what? Those conversations might have already happened in private, but I think the moment you
Okay.
start that's when there's going to be problems, because you know what it's like, JJB. You're gonna get that, and I understand this, right, from a fan's perspective. You pay your money to go and watch the best players, right? You show up, and it's obviously nowadays football's expensive. I mean, we should know Arsenal tickets. Oh my goodness, like
Yeah.
are so expensive, right? And then you show up, you take your family to watch the best players, and the best player's not playing. And then he comes out vocally and goes, "Well, my body wasn't ready for this game, that game." There's going to be uproar. There's going to be uproar.
But it hasn't got to be public. It hasn't got to be public. I'm talking about, let's just say one of the top 3 players at City. Let's say, I don't know, let's say Diaz says to Pep, like vocalizes it, but in private, like, Pep, we got Bournemouth on Saturday, but we got Real Madrid on Wednesday. I'm feeling like I'm getting to that bit. Drop me out for Saturday, so I'm good for. So no one knows about it apart from those 2 players. Get to a point where
that would have come out. That conversation would have happened already enough times.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you now that would have been going on for the last. Ever since we started playing so many games, that conversation would definitely be happening 100%. People going into the manager and going, "I'm not quite feeling it." I thought he meant public, because I said if it's public, that's a whole different.
Yeah. No.
But no, definitely private. Yes, that would happen. That'd be happening 100%.
You haven't got to name names, but have you seen players in your teams that have done that?
Yeah, I've had players in my team that, and listen, obviously I'm not going to out them, but I question their mentality, because they've come back, play well, and then, do you know when the pressure starts to build a little bit and people are starting to talk about them, and they're like, okay, he's back now, so we'll be okay. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I've got an injury. And they must have sent them for that many scans, going to see that many specialists. They can never find nothing, never find anything. But the following week, when the pressure's down, they come back out again. So yeah, I've played with players that ultimately were like, nah, I'm feeling a little bit today. And unfortunately, that you're always going to get that. You throughout the history of football, maybe more so like my generation, moving forward, you're going to get that, where they're going to have these conversations. Do you know what, boss? We've got Real Madrid next week. We're playing Burnley on Saturday. Do you mind if I sit this one out? These will be happening 100%.
That's really interesting. Can I come in with two? This conversation sparked 2 thoughts in my head. One that I really want to ask Darren about, but just a separate point, which feels a bit random. I think we also maybe miss and I don't know about this, right? But like the cynical side of the game. So we talk about Gabriel in that game that probably didn't need to play for Brazil. But I wonder if just behind the scenes there was listen, Gabriel, this is the Emirates. Like it's a Brazil game. We can sell it out. Like we need you on that pitch for that. Maybe when it was agreed, there's that element of, let's make sure Gabriel's on the pitch for that one. I even remember Gyokeres coming out, and I know we all wanted to see him in Hong Kong, but the guy's flown here, there, and everywhere. He flew to Singapore for an unveiling just to then go on to Hong Kong like a day or 2 after. And we got him on the pitch against Tottenham when he probably was in no condition to play. And you know what I mean? I wonder whether sometimes there's that element of the game, which is not I don't want to say sponsors are getting players on the pitch, but maybe there's an element of, no, for certain things though, like this is an event too, and we need these kind of players. But I don't know about that, but I just wondered about that. Other thing I wanted to ask Darren about was the red zone talk, because I hear this getting mentioned a lot more in the last couple of years. And when I think of the red zone, I'll be so honest, I think of Football Manager. When, Turco, I know you've played the game. When you've got all the players and you see their condition, and then some of them, they're just there in what is literally the red zone. I'm going, oh, I can't play this guy, even though he's not. It sounds so silly, but I wonder whether there's like a real life version of that. I'd love to know your thoughts on that, Darren. Like, are players being tested to a point of like, there's an actual test, there's scientific information collected, which a computer then spitting out a green, orange, or red, where they're basically being told, yeah, this player's condition, according to this data, is they're on the brink of an injury or something going wrong because their data doesn't correlate with how they're looking at the beginning of the season. I don't know. Is that like a real thing? Do managers and players have that kind of data now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Joyce, it's a really good question, because like I was almost in a time where technology, like I was before technology, then technology came in. So I've kind of seen it from both aspects. So if I go back to when I started playing football, the manager could always tell how fit you are, as if you were sick. So pre-season, you basically run to your drop, right? So if you picked up an injury, the only time he'd know about it is if you actually literally pulled something. And then it moved on. We started to wear the Pro Zone stats, which were like a GPS vest. and then it would obviously monitor how far you'd run in a game and stuff. And then the red zone stats came in Now, I remember again back in the day when I was playing, like when I first started coming through, if they'd have put red zone stats or the GPS on us, we would have just run through the red zone, because that's how you test yourself. You have to get to that red zone, and how long can you stay in that maximum heart rate? That's how you become fitter. Whereas now all of a sudden it's a little bit, they'll let you get into that red zone, but then as you've been in there a little bit, they might just go, okay, do you know what? We'll pull the reins a little bit. Like I'll give you an example. When I was at Sunderland with Jordan Henderson. Now, one thing we know about Jordan Henderson, he's got an engine. There was one particular day, the manager comes out and goes, "Listen, Jordan, you're going to spend the day inside training now, because your red zone stats are way too high. You're working so hard every single day that we need to pull you off a little bit, because if you continue at this rate, you're going to injure yourself." And that was the manager kind of looking after him again. It's too much. The load, because that's what they call it now, the load is just too much. And I do think now, even though these guys are super, super fit, they look after themselves, technology has played its part. So yeah, the red zone thing, as you said, to come to your point, is 100% a thing. The moment they see that you're really pushing that red zone and you've maybe been in it a little while, rather than let you see how far you can kind of push it, they'll go, nope. And because footballers now are commodities, aren't they? They're worth so much that they can't afford to be having these footballers break down. So as soon as you do it, they'll just pull you off it, pull you out of training.
I do want to move to somebody that's so interesting, and it ties in so much with, like, you know, what we've been facing injury wise. But in my opinion, Darren, and I think Jordan and James have heard this, I think sports science has played its part in ruining what I once thought football was in terms of the beautiful game. I think there's a mental side to it as well, where 20 years ago, if we're talking red zone, like you said, the mentality was to get there and push through it. Now I think the mentality is, if you get there, let me back off because I'm close to the red zone. On top of that, man are getting more money than ever. On top of that, they're being protected more than ever. And on top of that, you look around at the talent pool in world football, and if you compare the top 20 players now to the top 20 players in 2002, for example, I mean, football's gone a long way, the wrong way, in my opinion. And I think sports science has played a part in that. That's why it's such an interesting conversation, because they are fitter than ever, finely tuned. But is there really an improvement in the amount of injuries across the league from 20 years ago, where all of these changes, sports science, VAR, referees becoming professional, these are all things to happen to improve the game? Has it improved the game? Is there a real evidence there to say it has? I don't really see it, if I'm honest with you. Sorry,
it's a good point. I know you want to move on from injuries, but just finally from me, it's a good point, Turkish, because thinking about now, I'm thinking of North London derbies 20, 30 years ago. I don't remember 8, 9, 10 man being injured for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? I just don't remember that many injuries. Injuries have always been a thing. You've always had players out.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't remember a North London derby where you've got possibly 8 of your key players, 9 of your key players out injured. I don't, and this is the reason why I'm not hearing excuses, because whilst I think injuries have killed football generally, the reason why I'm not moaning about it is because everyone's got injuries. If it was an Arsenal problem, that would be different. If it was just us that had constant injuries and constant players out, I'd be like, what's going? But it's everyone. Everyone's got players out injured, so that's not a good thing. But that's the reason why, if we bring it back to this game on the weekend, I'm not trying to hear no excuses, because everyone can say on Monday morning, well, if we had him fit, or if he was fit, or if there were, we could all do that. So my thing is, just get on with it. In terms of the game itself, there's a big convo about injuries, I agree, that needs to be addressed. But in terms of the game this weekend, I'm sorry, get on with it. It's Spurs. Yeah. It's Spurs at home. We win that game. Find a way to win that game. Never mind in a year where you're top of the league and going for a title. Win the game. We talking about? Don't want to hear no excuses from anybody. You've got a good enough team still, even with all their man out, to beat Spurs.
Yeah.
We're done.
Before we delve more into Spurs, because we've got such a special guest on, and because Jordan a few weeks ago started a segment called Glock Watch, and because Gyokeres has been labelled a doubt for this weekend, Darren, I want your opinion overall, because Arsenal made a big move for a striker this summer. There was a few strikers on the market. Some say he's done well in the opening 10, 12, 13, whatever it is, considering the circumstances. Some say we expected more. Some are waiting for Havertz's return. So I'm not just asking you about Gyokeres here because he's out, but I'm asking you about the strikers at Arsenal. Jesus obviously being the third in line, considering how long he's been out for. But we all know what type of striker you was, and you know what I said earlier, 100 goal club. You know, one of only 34 players in this league across history since '92 to achieve that. So you know what you're talking about. Who's your profile? If all three were fit, Gyokeres, Havertz, and Jesus, if all three were fit for you, who would you be starting for Arsenal?
Good question.
Do you know what? It's a great question because do you know what? So Gyokeres, for instance, right? He's your traditional centre forward, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's done well, and I think he's looked sharper and sharper the more he's played with these players now. And this is such a fine point. The Arsenal team for the last few seasons have been used to playing with a centre forward that plays with their back to goal. So he's always looking at you, so they can bounce it off Havertz. He can hold it. He can win his flick-ons. He's really intelligent. Like, I really like Havertz. I think he's such an intelligent footballer. But that's what they've been used to. Havertz, and even Gabriel Jesus is the same as well. Although with Jesus, it almost annoys me being a striker that he spends way too much of his time outside the box. So that annoys me. But for Gyokeres, he is your traditional striker. So, like the goal against, he scored who was his first? Was it Leeds?
Leeds, yeah.
Where Calafiori just bumps it over the top. He's on
Yep.
the shoulder. He spins in the channel. Now that's his game. That's him at his absolute best. And Arsenal haven't had that for such a long time, which is why it's taken them a little bit longer to kind of build those relationships. But the longer that Gyokeres stays in the team and plays in the team, those relationships will come because he is what I feel a goal pig. You look at his record. You give him games, he will score goals. His movement's good. He's a good finisher, as we've seen when he was at Sporting Lisbon. So he will come good. But then again, with Havertz, I like Havertz, and he showed me pre-season that he had the other side to his game. There was a goal, it was against Bilbao, where he ran in behind, and he outpaced him, and he scored at the Emirates. I think it was the last Emirates game, and I thought, oh, I didn't know that he had that, but clearly he has. So I would opt to always start with Gyokeres. I think he is the guy. We've spent money on him. We know that we felt like he was almost a missing piece, although I never quite agreed to that. But I thought that we needed a traditional centre forward. Then Havertz comes in as your kind of your option B, but then Havertz can play a number of different positions, and then Gabriel Jesus. But I think if you want to see the best of Gyokeres, you have to play him. There is no point whatsoever putting him in for a couple of games when Havertz is fit and then taking him out. My best football was when I played week in, week out, building those relationships, getting that rapport with my teammates to build that rhythm, momentum. Because the amount of games now Gyokeres will play where he doesn't really touch the ball, but he walks off the pitch, he scored 2, is because he's in that rhythm. He's in that rhythm, and to build that rhythm, you have to play games.
Yeah.
My fear for Gyokeres is it's a race to get fit, because if one thing about Kai Havertz, who's missed, I think he's missed 7 months of 2025, which is crazy through injury. But he is someone who's typically a bit of a freak when it comes to fitness. Doesn't get a lot of injuries, bounces back really well when he does get them. If he's available before Victor Gyokeres, gets a couple minutes, scores a couple goals, I think there's a good chance he keeps his place through this run-in, like through kind of December and that cluster of games. So it is a little bit of a race between them to get fit first. And listen, you want neither of them pushing it. I mean, what's interesting is the Arsenal Twitter account is sharing a lot of photos of Gabby Jesus. I mean, there's a lot of promo there. So I wonder what we're going to get from Gabby, which would be great, but more so in terms of his availability in minutes. But it might be, because I think Arteta likes both of them. Genuinely, I think he sees very different qualities, but I think he also sees that they can. Havertz drops in, but Gyokeres has done his link up was good against Burnley, and that's been improving. But then Darren rightly says that goal from Kai Havertz when he powers in behind. I didn't know he had that acceleration. I didn't know he had that R2 button in him when he could just burst away from a defender and find the corner like that. So I think Arteta's quite content with either. It might just be who can get on that pitch first. And I'm really hoping that the reason we've heard so little is because Arsenal are keeping their cards close to their chest ahead of the derby. I hope they're doing let's not say a lot. Let's just brief the media that there's doubts, that we're not really 100% sure. And then come that Sunday morning when they're doing their pre-match walk or whatever, we're going to see Victor, we're going to see Noni Madueke, we're going to see Kai Havertz. I really hope it's something like that just lifts the Emirates before the game, because, I know there's still big games like Bayern and Chelsea to come, but we were talking about this cluster of games, having them available. It's obviously we want them back as soon as possible for those other games too, but to have neither for Spurs and suddenly both for Bayern, I don't know. Like we need one of them at least to kind of come through, but at the same time, we can't rush it because then we'll be in this position again in a few weeks.
Well, go on, Tex.
Just before you go, maybe I've been unfair here. I want to throw Merino into the mix because I think I think in 2025 especially, I think he's probably got the best goals to game
record, man,
out of all the players that have played up front. So have I done him injustice?
You done my boy dirty, man. Respect Double M. Listen, it's looking very likely that it probably will be him. I don't know if you guys know more than me, but it's looking very likely that it will be Merino starting up top, which in a North London derby isn't particularly ideal. But you know, I think if you feed him, he's a good finisher. We discussed a couple of weeks ago. The guy can finish. I don't think his movement in around the box is particularly amazing because he's not a striker. But if you give him a chance, this guy can bang. So I think it's unfortunate that we haven't got any of our strikers potentially available for a big game and a big week. But I just wanted to ask kind of to Darren, as someone, we've got someone on the pod here who's played in North London derbies, as someone that played for the Ops, what is it? What is it like on match day as a player? But also from a Spurs perspective, give us a little bit of insight into how scared they were playing Arsenal. Because let's have it right, like 9% of the time in the Premier League, Arsenal are on top. Mm-hmm. What was the mentality from Spurs going into? They want to win it, obviously, but was there a slight, it's Arsenal, let's try and get a point, or am I getting that wrong?
No, do you know what? You're 100% spot on, because certainly back then, and it's kind of a little bit like that now. Back then, Arsenal was so superior to us at Tottenham. They were so, like, you were so much better than us that if we got a point, it almost felt like celebration. Like the 4-4, when people talk about the 4-4, it's almost like Spurs won. People forget that, no, Spurs didn't win. It was a point. But that's just how it was back then, because Arsenal were just so much better than us. But I mean, the North London derby, it was almost one of those. Yo,
I gotta cut you. You're making me sick with the us thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but not liking that, D. You gotta stop that.
Sorry, I was about to say. Sorry.
I get you though. You're playing. I get you, but when you're saying us, I'm
thinking,
what I mean? It's hurting.
And also, sorry, Dan. Before you go, that game came on Sky. What they call it, Classics, a couple of days ago. That 4-4, right? And when you came on, you were looking a little bit too hungry to score a goal, you know.
Of course, but you
were looking a little bit too hungry to score. I didn't like that.
Guy's a professional footballer, man.
Yeah, do you know what it was though? It's definitely okay. I'm going to stop with the us part, but certainly playing for Spurs, like there was always a feeling like playing against Arsenal, right? They're going to have most of the ball. What have we got to do to kind of counter oppress that? Just try and get something from the game, stay in it. But I think as players, we knew that Arsenal were better than us. So I have to go back to us. That's the only way I can kind of the us part. The only way I can,
it's hard to explain it. We're better than them, but I'm them right now. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So it was so match day was always decent. You know, you prepare for it like any other game. And I've said it before, playing for Tottenham, that the Arsenal game always had a little bit of like needle on it. But in my opinion, and certainly a lot of the players I played with would probably agree, that the Tottenham Chelsea was more grudge. Like Arsenal was, of course, North London derby, but the Chelsea game was more like, do you know what I mean? Anger between the players and the supporters. But again, it was always, when we play an Arsenal, like, right, we've got to keep it tight. If we don't keep it tight, we know what's going to happen. Van Persie's going to hurt us. Adebayor can hurt us. Fabregas. There were so many options for Arsenal that, again, that's why at the end of that 4-4 game, you can see the Tottenham end's virtually empty, because everyone's thinking, Arsenal have won this. Like, Arsenal have won, but when Aaron Lennon scores right at the end, that's why as players were all celebrating, because you just don't expect it. And then there was almost a shift where you had the Harry Kane and the Son, where, let's be honest, they cause Arsenal some serious problems. Like, every single time they cause Arsenal problems. But then it's almost gone back to how it used to be now, where Arsenal being so superior. So, I mean, it's an unbelievable game to prepare for. You know exactly what's coming. And you've got to embrace it. You've just got to try and, like the players will be saying, the same speeches will be, you got to treat it like every other game. It's just another game. Play the game, not the occasion. And then as soon as you get to the stadium on the coach, it's like, okay, here we go. We're in it. Like, it's different now. It's different now being at the Emirates, because the coach goes down underneath the stadium. But certainly at White Hart Lane, Arsenal players would have felt it, because you go down that Tottenham high road and like the Spurs fans going, it's a little bit more hostile. But again,
Yeah.
Arsenal are the superior team now. They've got to find a way of winning this game, and I think they will do.
Yeah, well, good. We might as well get into it now. I mean, big game this Sunday, and Big Six home, Tottenham, North London derby. I'm glad you did mention. I mean, well, that the rivalry with Chelsea and Tottenham was a lot more fierce, because growing up as as an Arsenal fan, Tottenham were quite irrelevant. It was Man United that were the ones that man hated the most. It was them that we was arguing with at school the most. But obviously Tottenham have emerged over the years, managed to get themselves in the Big Six, and here we are, a different entity. And don't forget, them times before Roman, Chelsea had one title, Tottenham had two. So that argument for who's the second biggest London club was still very prevalent. But then Roman come in and done his whatever. Jordan.
Can I just ask all three of you, actually, just thinking about this game again and the injury talk included, is there and I can't think of any players to come to mind, but is there an argument, because of players have been flying all over the place on international duty, that you make changes this, and we've got a lot of players out, so that's got to be caveated as well, but is there an argument to make some changes and bring in players that maybe are fresher but slightly inferior? I'm just wondering, the temptation will be to play the best 11 you can for the weekend. And I get that logic. But if some of those players have had like 2 games for their nation or 3 games for their nations involving flights across the world, is there an argument that maybe you bring in some players that maybe haven't played so much international football and are fresher for the game on Sunday? Or do you guys think we just play the best 11 we've got available?
Our squad's probably not in that position right now, man.
True.
Like,
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, Eze and Saka. I mean, let's mention the goals they scored as well for England in that first game. Absolutely beautiful goals, and Saka's one's important for me because it's off the back of a very nice goal against Sunderland. Where going into that game, a lot of people were asking, Saka best form. He hasn't scored open play in a while. Now he's got, back-to-back quality goals going into now a period where I've mentioned earlier with Gabriel out, I'm looking more at our attackers. I don't think we can afford. I think looking at next week, massive week, but I think Bayern's the sacrifice. I think Bayern might be the game where if we get Madueke on the bench against Tottenham, if we get some of these on the cusp players on the bench, I think they start against Bayern to get minutes in their legs, because that Chelsea game, I think that's the most important game of the week. And it's the third one along the line, So for me, I feel like we have to go as strong as we can against Tottenham, mix it up against Bayern, and then hope for the best again, strength-wise, against Chelsea. That's just my view of next week. James.
Do you know what? Do you know what as well? I think it's a good point, because I think last season in the Champions League kind of taught us that, because as long as you get to the qualifying that top 8, it's a little bit irrelevant. Because look at PSG. PSG were way down there. They only ended up winning the whole competition. So as long as you're in that top 8, I'm with you. I think the Premier League is the most important. So I think you can go, if you go strong against Tottenham, and then you kind of maybe 1 or 2, you assess it. And that's what they'll be doing right now. They'll be checking the data. Guys will be having days off. But also, because we're playing on Sunday, that's an extra day. That's what they'll say. You've got an extra day of recovery. So you play later than everyone else. So then that's an opportunity to maybe, if you're a bit undecided on who to play, you might go, all right, do you know what? I'll let him go. But the Bayern game, I'm with you. That's where you maybe go, right, I'm going to change 1 or 2 bits and bobs. Now, I understand it's Bayern Munich, but Arsenal are going to be in that top 8. I've got no doubts about that whatsoever. So that's not a problem. But then, as you said there, going into the Chelsea game, what you don't want to do is go strong against Bayern, then you lose a couple more, then you're like, oh no, what did we do against Chelsea? There's opportunities to make points up in the Champions League. Like, so it's not all about winning all your first 5-6 games. No, there are times to kind of, you can make the points up. But in the Premier League, I don't think we're at a point now where you can sacrifice points or games, because you've got Man City there. Liverpool will come again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting there going, Liverpool are out of it, because I don't think they are. There are teams that are right there ready to strike if Arsenal drop points. So my priority and focus definitely 100% would be not rest players, but assess players for Bayern, but go strong Tottenham, Chelsea.
James, what's your thoughts on this big week? Not just Tottenham, but the 3 games with the position we're in.
Oh, it's so difficult, because you don't win one of those games and Zubimendi's on the bench and you're sat there going, why didn't you just play him? Ultimately that will be kind of the reaction at full time. Even if we say draw at home to Bayern, or you narrowly lose 2-1 and Norgard started instead, there'll be that sense of missed opportunity, or maybe throwing a game away. So I think there'll be a temptation to play these, to just get these players out on the pitch in the hope that then the minutes and the recovery we want them to have comes when these players return. So we talk Eze. Hopefully he'll be rested when Ødegaard's back and able to play a little bit more. Hopefully he doesn't pick up a fourth injury. Saka as well. He might just have to, I hate saying it, but firm it for these next 3 games. And then Madueke is available. And then we start to actually manage the minutes from that point. Also, the other thing, Jordan, and you make a great point, but these players want to play these games. Like, let's say we say to Bukayo Saka, hey, we're going to rest you for, Bayern, Madueke is good to go. We'll bring you on for 30 minutes. He's probably thinking, why? Like, I'm good. I want to play this game. Bayern Munich at the Emirates. I mean, they are the team to beat right now in Europe. And I don't think there's any top player in our squad that doesn't want to be a part of that game, especially at the Emirates. So it becomes really difficult to manage that.
You're right. No, you're definitely right. They'll definitely want to play in all those big games. I'm just thinking about the longevity of the season. And I get why we've got City 4 points behind us. You drop points this weekend. City beat Newcastle. It's then a point. So I get that. But I'm looking at, would you rather just get the players back fit and right for the second half of the season, even if it means sacrificing some games now, but after Christmas, you've got the majority of your squad good to go? Or do you flog them when they're already flagging and then you've not got those players good to go come February, March? And some would say worry about February, March when February, March comes around. But I'm just thinking of the whole season. We've got players that are all Saka's not fully fit, in my opinion. He's not had a proper rest. He's not fully fit, but we're playing him and he's doing his thing. But is that sustainable? And I'm just wondering if this is going to bite us post Christmas into the new year. And if you're better off just kind of getting these players back fully fit now for the second half of the season, or do you say, well, we can't risk falling second and third behind City and Liverpool and just playing these players through the pain, even if it means they're not fully fit for March? I just thought it worth kind of asking the question from that point.
Do you remember Pep Guardiola resting Haaland and De Bruyne when they played Villa a couple of years ago in the run-in?
Yeah.
They're at home at the Etihad. And what helped is Villa rotated. I don't know why they honestly.
Remember?
Yeah.
Unai Emery, you had an enemy in me already, and you just made it so much worse. But they were getting Champions League football that year, Villa, and I thought, okay. And then I looked at their 11, and I thought, okay, City will get it done anyway. But he had the confidence to go, Haaland, Kevin, you come out of this one. And Foden just slapped in the top corner twice, I think. But, ultimately it comes down to player quality. So, yeah, in theory, for certain games, if Madueke is looking anything like how he started the season, I've got no problem pulling Saka out for a few of those games. Just right now, who are these? Turkish, I think you just made the point 10 minutes ago. Who are we bringing in? The squad is, it's not in great shape. Like it is when you actually really look at the bench against Sunderland, we couldn't do anything. And I didn't blame Arteta for not remaking any changes because I didn't really know who could obviously make a difference that would help us in that particular situation. So basically, I love the idea of rotating. We need players back.
On that change you talk of, Darren, I want to ask you, Arteta's been accused a lot of, in big moments or a time where you want to maybe see something fresh, he had resorted to the defensive side of things. Maybe we're looking at Anfield earlier on in the season. Man City as well? We played that midfield free. And then Newcastle, we changed it up. But then against Sunderland, 2-1 up, where Sunderland were getting more of the ball, they were applying more pressure. We kind of succumbed a bit to it with the substitution too by bringing Mosquera on for Eze. What do you think that's the right way to go about it, considering it's put us in a position of expecting a league title, our defensive record and unit? Or do you think Arteta needs to loosen up a bit more in those moments? Because look at that 23-24 run, for example, one change in that, funnily enough, Aston Villa against us. One change, Havertz goes to midfield, we lose the game 2-0. That's the game that cost us. So there's been moments over the years where Arteta's done something that doesn't necessarily aid the attack. It might improve the defense and the all-round, structure and work rate of the team, but we haven't got over the line in anything. And so far this season, there's been moments too where he could be accused of the same. Do you think he needs to change it up a bit, or do you think go with what Mikel? Because You've lost out twice in the league. You've got that experience now, so we expect you now to ride even this injury wave a bit better than you have before.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe a little bit of both. At times, certainly, you want to see maybe a bit of an offensive change, but I could have told you what was going to happen against Sunderland straight away. Like, I knew full well that Max Dowman or Wanyeri wasn't coming on. There was no one in that game there against Sunderland where I played up there. It's loud, it's hostile. Like, you need a certain type of player to be able to handle that environment in terms of structure, organization. And when you're a young kid and you get thrown into the mix, first of all, your thought process and you're an attacker is, right, I want to get on the ball, I want to run forward, I want to make things happen. Now, if they were to come on and do that and give the ball away, then we're on the back foot. So I knew full well. Look, when I looked at the bench, I did think, but I said, well, as the game is progressing, we were 2-1 up. I said, there's no one on the planet he's putting in one of these young kids. Like, also, it's not fair to them. I know they probably could handle it because they're really exceptional, talented young kids, but that just wasn't the game to put on one of these young academy graduates, because you can get lost in it. As I said, there, it's hostile. So I knew Mosquera was going to come on, or a defensive unit, to try and solidify what we have. So in the game against Sunderland, I don't blame him for that. I 100% understand why he did that. Yeah, there are other games where I thought...
Sorry, so just to make a point on that, Liverpool, I think they was away to Newcastle, bring on Rio, and he wins the game for them. So, much has been talked about, because I kind of agree with you. I always say don't rely on teenagers, but there's also proof that in this modern day football, teenagers are maturing a lot quicker and look at Yamal, for example. We're talking about the best of the teenagers right now, but we've seen Liverpool, a title rival, especially then. They've dropped a little bit off, but we've seen them win a game by bringing a teenager on. Does that change your opinion a bit, or is it just, each their own?
Well, now you got to think about that game as well. First of all, Newcastle 10 men. So Liverpool dominating the game. They're the ones pressing. So in that scenario, you can bring on a young kid because you've got all the ball. They had 90% of the ball, I think, at that time. So not like there was no risk, but they can go on and win the game because they're the ones creating opportunities. They're the ones pushing. We're on the back foot against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Obviously, even they're putting the ball in the box, making things happen. So then to change it in that scenario, all it takes is one person to not go with their runner, to not stick to the structure. And I know we equalised anyway, so it is a little bit of hindsight. I just think the two scenarios are a little bit different in terms of bringing on. They could bring on a teenager in that moment.
You're right.
Maybe we could have gone, Jay. Jay, you were going to say something. I see you gone there.
No. It was something separate. So no, you finish your point. Sorry, it's a separate question.
Nah. So then I just think, but then there's been other moments, as you said, there maybe against Manchester City, where I'm thinking, well, it's quite clear what Pep's trying to do. Pep's trying to almost go, right, we're going to just defend it. A little bit like what we did with 9 men, where we just sat back and going, we ain't going to attack at the Etihad. It felt like Pep was doing that. And that's where maybe Arteta could have been a bit more forward thinking and gone, do you know what? No, we're really going to cause a problem now. He almost did when he brought in Eze and Martinelli and the run in the pass. So it did work, but maybe sometimes be a little bit more proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, D, whenever you go shopping to when you're at Waitrose, right, and you get to the cashier and the cashier woman says to you, all right, that's £162.49. Do you ever feel like just saying, yeah, but I'm in the 100 club? My question is, you're an Arsenal fan as well, right? So kind of forgetting all the professional ex-player bit to one side, just as an Arsenal fan, do you feel it like this year as a gunner, as a fan of this football club, like the three of us are? Do you feel it? Do you feel like this is the year, or do you have concerns? Are you part of the ones that are scared that City are, hunting us down? Just talk, as an Arsenal fan, chat to us about how you feel this season can or even could play out.
No, with the signings that we made, I thought, yeah, we've got a great chance. That was my thought process at the start of the season. When we brought all these players in, I thought, right, we've got an unbelievable chance to win it. Even the Liverpool result didn't really bother me because it's a wonder strike from Szoboszlai, and sometimes these things happen. But it's after we beat Newcastle, I went, yeah, we can win it. We're winning the league this year, because notoriously up there, we get beat all the time. We never show up when we go and play against Newcastle away. So when we scored that last one, and there's a video of me, funny enough, I was doing some NFL thing and Gabriel scores and I jump up, like scream the whole place down, that's when I thought to myself, we're winning it. I can't see, no one's better than us. We've got the best squad. We play the best football. We've got the best defense. We've got some of the best players in the Premier League. I just thought to myself, like, if you was to go through all the best performers in the league, you say David Raya is up there with probably the best goalkeeper so far this season. You say Gabriel's definitely been the best defender. There's an argument, Rice and Caicedo. Which one are you going to go down? So that's 3 players, the spine of your team, which arguably would be in the PFA Team of the Year. So when I started putting all these things together, I was like, yeah, we're winning it. No one's going to stop us.
So better question then. If we don't, why would that be? What's the one thing that you think will stop us winning the league this season?
Pressure. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is pressure. We've got the best. Again, we've got a great squad. We've got players who could get into most teams around the world. It's just that's the only thing that can derail us is pressure. And the pressure might come where, say, it gets to a point where we're on the same points as Man City, for instance, and Man City play first, and we've got a game like that's a little bit like Palace away or something, and Man City play first, they win, they go ahead. That's when I'm a bit like, oh, have we got the mentality to then go and win playing after City? That's the only thing I think that can stop Arsenal this year.
I actually look at this weekend as one of those weekends, James, because the weekend just gone, we played Sunderland up north, 5:30 p.m. kickoff before City played Liverpool Sunday. This coming game week, City got Newcastle away up north, 5:30 p.m. Saturday, and we've got Tottenham on Sunday. Now, if City go and win, they close that gap to 1 point before the North London derby. So, that's a different type of pressure. But obviously, that's a big task to beat Newcastle away as well. So they have to get that done. But I think this weekend, if City win, then that pressure intensifies on Sunday, James. In terms of this game, let's focus on this game now. Thomas Frank, the way he's set up this season, because I feel like Tottenham have done good, from the platform that Frank received. I know it's a Europa League winning side, but he's done good this season in bringing a balance, a structure. I know some Tottenham fans are still 50-50 on him, but they're a better side than they was last season, right? But James, do you feel any nerves heading into this game, or do you think it should be business as usual for us, even with the injuries that we've got?
Oh, do I feel any nerves? No, but I haven't really all season. I haven't really felt nervous at any point.
Would you, if Man City beat Newcastle and it's 1 point before that game?
I think it's too early still for me to feel that, that nervy, like that feeling in the run in 23-24. Every game was like, oh my word, we need to win. We did win most of them, but that feeling of nerves, like a cup semi-final or final or a title run in. I don't know, because so much can still happen. I think I really hope this doesn't happen. I've touched wood as I said it, but like, even if we lose and City win at Newcastle, that will feel like such a massive swing in terms of momentum in the title race. But we'd still be a point ahead, and I still think City will lose games, and I'd still go dust yourselves off and go again because Alton was still in the lead. So I don't feel that kind of. I feel the nerves because it's Tottenham. I'm actually going to the game, and I feel the nerves in the sense that you just have to beat them. But in terms of the wider picture of the title race, I don't know. Tottenham always just sits in its own realm as a conversation, as a fixture. I don't know. It's always, I can kind of remove all context and just feel what I feel for that match, if that makes any sense.
Do you know what it is though? I think it's because, and the reason why I think I say about pressure and nerves a little bit is because just because Man City have been there and done it so many times, and they've had to go toe-to-toe with, they went toe-to-toe with Arsenal, they went toe-to-toe with Liverpool for a couple of seasons, where they had to win like 10, 11 games in a row. Now, I think Arsenal can do that. I believe they can do that, but I know City can do that. So I think that's where I'm a little bit nervous, where if it comes down, say it's us and City, again, like last 10 games of the season, they win, we win. I'm hoping, and I believe Arsenal can do it, because I think they've got the right mentality to do it. But what worries me is that I know City can do it. So that's where can the Arsenal now finally kind of get over the mountain and go, well, no, we're as good as them. If we got to win a game, plan second, we'll do that. Whereas I know City can do it. So that's what makes me a little bit nervous.
But do you know that this City can do it? Because I agree with you, like Pep Guardiola, Erling Haaland. It's just this City team, they've now got a new goalkeeper. John Stones isn't playing. Rodri has had injuries. He's been in and out. We don't know how he'll be post ACL. That might take another year to kind of get back to his best. He might come back the same player. I don't know. And I appreciate Nico looks good in midfield. They don't have De Bruyne. Like, that's quite a lot of their spine that's like been dismantled and rebuilt.
Guardiola. I think we too often say it's not the same City, but forget it's the same Guardiola. And Guardiola's proven it time and time again with different squads. He's rebuilt sides that he doesn't really get. This would be the third City rebuild. You know, people argue that he can't rebuild a side. Yeah, maybe fourth. So I think, yes, it's not the same City, but it's the same Pep, and that's the problem. But I know you asked Darren the question.
I would still question that. I would still question whether it's quite the same Pep. Like, the thing about City last year, they really fell off a cliff. Like, and I know with all the titles they've won and all the success Pep has had, my word, if anyone is owed or deserves just one off year, it's him. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it was quite a fall off. Like, across all competitions, I didn't realize they didn't win a Champions League game till December last year.
Yeah.
You know, little stats like that. I can't remember who told me that stat, but I thought that was incredible. I think Rory Jennings said it. You know, their fall off in the league. I mean, everyone talked about Arsenal, and I get it, because if they weren't going to win it, then we should have been the ones that did it. But City fell away. City spent a lot of money. A lot of money has been wasted in some of those signings as well. And even this season, if they're to win the title, they'll have done it losing to Spurs at home and away at Brighton. You know, God forbid we had those results, people would be saying there's no way we'd be winning the league. So, yeah, I let me, for all my pushing back on your points, I actually agree with all of you. Pep Guardiola, Man City can do it. I actually agree with all those points. But I think it's probably the first time that I haven't felt this sense of Arsenal, you need to basically win the equivalent of 9 out of 10 games for the rest of the season. I actually think there's a little bit more wiggle room. And that's why I don't want panic to set into. The fans will do what the fans do, but the players, like, I don't at any point, if they look like they're scrambling over the next few games because they've gone a few games without a win. You know, Arteta tends to go on a run of 3 games without a win. Like, his bad patches come in a cluster of 3-4 games. We can't be having that. If you have a bad result, Sunderland, you drew. You know, we really hope if this North London derby doesn't go well, respond, bounce back. There's so much football to play. I don't want to see us looking absolutely rattled for 3-4 games in a row because we've lost a couple of players, lost a couple of games. We don't know what to do. We've proven we're a good team. We've picked up big results at away grounds this year. So City, I don't think have that kind of that pressure of previous years. But when we lost to Villa, I thought that could well be it. 1 defeat in 18, I thought that could be it. I don't think this season is that, but I'm also hoping that is also.
That's what I mean. Darren's answer is what I would have answered. Pressure is what I worry about because of PTSD. But I feel like this season, there's no excuses. I feel like 22-23, unexpected, understandable. We bottled it, but okay. We wasn't even meant to be there. We was there. We didn't know what we was doing. The next year, toe-to-toe, Man City, juggernaut, 4 in a row. They managed to do it. We lost 1 game in the last 19. Unfortunate, but learn from it. I think this season now, I agree, pressure is the only thing that's going to stop us. But if pressure does stop us, then I think change is required because it just can't keep coming to that point where the expectation is there. And then, you know, pressure is the be all and end all. Now, I want to ask around because we're talking about City. We're not dismissing Liverpool yet, right?
No,
I am.
Okay, so Darren said no. You said yeah.
No.
Jordan? I'm not, basically. If we beat Sunderland and it was 10 points, I'd say, yep, Liverpool out of it. 4-game swing, yeah, but we didn't. It's 8 points. It's still a 3-game swing. I still think, and we still got to play Liverpool and they still got to play City at Anfield.
It depends what you mean by dismissing. So do I think they can catch us? Yeah. So I don't know, that sounds silly. Yes, I do. But do I think they'll win the league? I don't know if we don't win, I think it'll be City. I don't think you can lose 5 games and get battered 3-0 by one of your title rivals and win the league. 5 games by November, what the time? It was early November when it happened. So I rate the team. They might go win the Champions League. They could click and do something like that. They could pick up, you know, a cup or something. I rate the team. I think they will respond and get better. I just don't know if that can be your platform in mid-November and win the title. So if we don't win it, I think it'll be City. That's where I discount them from the title race. But could they catch us? Absolutely. We're capable of any form of capitulation, and they can put wins together.
Just uber. I know we're short on time, so just super quick, right? I was watching them Jokers, KG and Flex. They're one of their shows this week, right? And Flex posed an interesting question. He asked, I think Owen, the other gentleman on that panel, Owen and KG. He said, "Would you take losing 7-0 to Arsenal, right, this season, if it meant finishing third and winning the FA Cup?" And KG said no. He said no, right? So I'm going to ask you three super quickly.
Question. What? That's so random.
They're random guys. It's them lot in it. It's them lot.
Yeah, they're brilliant. But go on.
So
in the state of Man United, they got to ask random questions over there.
they're struggling. They're struggling. So let me ask you three. Would you take winning the league, but it meant that this season United knocked out Arsenal in the FA Cup 8-0 at the Emirates, and they won 8-0 in the reverse league game?
But we win in the league. I don't care how we win it. Win the league, bro. I don't. That's
2 8-0s at home.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Trust me.
Yeah, of course. I'm so confused by this. Like, I don't get the game. Yes.
21 years, Jordan. 21 years, brother. Give me
2 8-0s.
Give me 3 8-0s and a league title. I'll take it. Bro, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm taking that. I'm taking the league title over everything, man. I'm taking 8-0s. I'll take it.
Very dumb.
We had an 8-2 without a league title, a 6-1 without some shit. So, but let's keep it moving. Let's do predictions, people. And just a heads up that the predictions are back in table format. We're gonna make our predictions as usual. You'll get the usual point system scoring: 1 point for a correct result, 3 points for a correct score. But what we're also going to do is pick a player each, and we've got a point system that we're going to reveal on Monday's episode of the Loose Cannons. So every week we predict the result, predict the score, and on top of that we pick a player, and whether that player scores, keeps a clean sheet, gets an assist, and so on. We're going to try to keep it simple, but also, you know, build on the prediction table from last year. So, gents, obviously Darren aside, I'm talking to James and Jordan here. When you make your predictions for this Tottenham game, add a player into it too. And as the host, I'll go last so you two can get the first picks of players, because, you know, that's what hosts do. They make everyone feel welcome, right?
What an amazing host, man.
Thank you very much, Turkish. What a great host. Brilliant.
So
Yeah, amazing.
Stop. Don't. I'm going to blush. So, yeah, Darren, let's start with you. Prediction for North London Derby. How do you think it's going to go?
I've said already 3-0 Arsenal.
Woo!
Come on.
3-0 Arsenal. And I think, again, it's probably an obvious one, but I think Saka scores. I think he's star player. I've got him to score one. I've gone Declan to score. And I couldn't think of the third one, because obviously it would have been Gabriel, but he's obviously not going to be there. So I want to say Zubamendi. I want to go rogue like Zubamendi. So I think it's going to be Zubamendi, Rice, Saka, 3-0.
Right, he's gone for the whole hog. He's got the free scorers, the 3-0. All right, cool.
Yeah.
James, what are you saying?
By the way, Darren, I think I'm with you on Inside Gooners on TalkSport on the Monday after the derby.
Oh, nice.
So if it is that result, we're gonna have a blast, man, because that will.
You're gonna say this result, dinner on me or something. You said we were gonna have a blast.
What's that? Sorry.
I thought you were gonna say that's the result, dinner on me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
he rubbed his hands and said we're gonna have a blast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll bring some M&S snacks into the recording.
Can I ask you, bro,
lovely.
Can you find a way to plug Loose Cannons on that podcast if that's all right?
I'll plug it today on my show.
Right,
I'll plug it today.
What I'll do is I'll tweet it, and you can share it on Instagram or whatever else. Anyway,
nice one.
But cool. Go on, James.
Predictions. 2-1 Arsenal. This is my favourite score this year. 2-1 Arsenal. And my selected player, I've got to go Bukayo Saka.
Okay, Jordan.
Yeah,
I would have gone 2-1 as well, but I'm going to go then 1-0.
And you can pick the same player, by the way, if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to pick my boy Double M. 1-0, Double M winner.
Ooh, that's not a bad shot, you know. I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm going to go Saka. You nearly swayed me there with Mikel, but I'm losing it.
So this new game basically is going to take on quite a nasty side of the pod, because basically, if Arsenal go 2-1 up, Saka's got his goal. I'm hoping for a Merino red card, so Jordan loses points. Like that's just ridiculous. But, we'll have fun with it. What we'll do, Tex, I might iron out the system.
Yeah,
and we can just post it on X or something, and people can see ahead of the weekend.
Yeah. I think that's a good shot. I think maybe we make an X account for the loose cannons as well. Anyway, but we'll talk about that on the side. That's all the predictions, people. Comment section. Let us know yours. We've all gone for Arsenal wins. We've also picked a player or three in Darren's case where they're going to have an impact. Oh, this is unique. Usually that's Jordan at this point going like this. It's not. It's James today. Go on, James.
No, I'm so sorry. Just super quickly, I just want to name in Gabriel's absence, who are you all starting at centre back?
Calafiori and Lewis Skelly left back.
Okay, Darren, who would you go for? Left back as well.
Yeah. I like balance. I like my left centre half to have left foot and right. I know it sounds simple, but Lewis Skelly, and also as well, I need to see Lewis Skelly start playing again. I mean, I want him to be on that World Cup playing desperately, man.
Yeah,
and I feel like at the minute he's not he's done well, but he's not getting enough minutes to get himself back in there. So I want to see him play.
Yeah, I agree.
Calafiori and Lewis Skelly.
Yeah,
I'm putting in Capio.
So what? Straight swap. So Calafiori stays left back for you.
Which I think that's what Arteta will do. But to keep it quick, I'll go. I agree. I want Calafiori, Lewis Skelly. I think he'll do Capio at centre back. But yeah, cool. Thanks for that one. That's going to be a really interesting selection.
And we'll be here to talk about it, people. Sunday night, we record Monday morning. The next show will be out. Hopefully, we're all smiling on the thumbnail, and hopefully you all enjoy the next guest too. But hopefully you've enjoyed this guest right here. Before we do wrap it up, we've got comments of the day. So I hope everyone, aside from Darren's, ready with their comments.
Well, I'll fly in quickly with this because it did make me laugh, and I actually clocked it. It's from Joe Lu G. It says Turkish scratching his eye with his middle finger, just as James mentions Havertz. God's watching. As well. I thought, what's he saying fuck me for?
I don't mean it, but if the glove fits, I've got one here. I was surprised at them. I was surprised at the amount I love Jordan got. It was making me sick a little bit. So I've managed to.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't remember you being that good on the pod. I don't know why they.
What did he say? That was so amazing.
I've had better ones. Yeah.
So my one's from Margin. He said, I love this podcast. The combo these guys have feels like the type of combo you'd have at the pub with mates. So good. You should speak about football as a whole. Listen, we've got big plans for the loose cannons and the channel and brand overall. So thanks for that. And we're always welcoming feedback and suggestions on what we should do and do more of. So yeah, that's my comment of the day. Big up the community.
I got a few. I'll wrap them really super quickly. Just mention that Culture Cam's got a lot of love on the last podcast as well. So big up Cams for coming on the last pod. You guys are gonna clown me for this one, but Justin and Joshua separately. I can't remember where I met you both, but I said that I'd both give you a shout out. I remember your name. I don't remember where I met you, but I promised you that I'd give you a shout out. So
how can you remember the name?
I know. Let's keep it moving.
Darren, talk to your guy, man. How's he forgetting one side of the whole
Let's keep it moving. But I shout out Justin and Joshua.
How many places do you go to? Like,
I'm a busy boy. I'm a busy boy. I want to shout out Carl from John Lewis. I bought my my clothes rack. You know when you wash clothes, I put my clothes rack. And what else did I buy from there? Something else. A towel, my body towel. He recognized me and you guys from the pod. Big fan of the podcast. Loves it. Big up Carl, who served me there. I want to big up Tyree Donovan, who's a British athletics sprinter who won an award at the Taffy Awards, which I hosted a couple of weeks ago. He's a big fan of the podcast as well. He's transitioned from our last home over to Loose Cannon, so big him up. I want to big up Troops. We all featured on the Troops live stream to raise money for Jamaica a week ago. Big up everybody that watched us on that, and big up Troops as well. I want to big up all the people that have done live streams for to raise money for Melissa, Hurricane Melissa. I've been really impressed how the community has come together to try and raise money for the victims of that hurricane. But big up Troops, because you didn't have to do that. So everyone has done that. Big them up. And finally, I want to big up all those that saw me at Fabric last week. We did a party at Fabric, Planet V, drum and bass event. Lots of people loving the podcast, loving you, Turkish, loving you, James, and big fans of the pod. So I can't remember all your names because you were all drunk and I couldn't hear you properly. But big up all the ravers at Fabric last week that are fans of the podcast. I didn't get any comments because it was a couple of weeks ago and I didn't have time. So I thought I'd just give some
comments of the day, and he just reads out like he's just won his first Oscar. He starts bigging the whole. I was waiting for Mum and God coming next. Do you want to
man of the people, Turk, man of the people. I'm on the tube, I'm on the bus, I'm in Tesco's, I'm in Fabric. You can see me anywhere. I'm the people's guy.
If you see Jordan people on the roads, just remember you can talk to him, but he'll only remember one thing, whether that's your name or where he's met you. Make sure that one thing is important enough.
Either your name or the location. I can't remember both. One of them. One of the two.
Also, I've had no love for this pod. Can people come say hi to me? Yeah, just come up to me and be like, "I love the pod."
You gotta be outside.
I'm outside all the time. I have like 5 runs a week. That's probably why I'm probably just jogging past people.
Nah, who's gonna stop you running? Just grab you whilst you're running and say, "James, I love you."
Someone did do that once, and I went, "Oh, what's your name? I'll give you a shout out." And he went, "You don't need to know my name, but keep doing what you're doing." I went, "Oh, that's a bit weird." Okay,
wow.
All right, thanks.
That guy's in jail now. I'm telling you that for a fact. He is. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Before we wrap it up, firstly, before I say big up to the special guest, Darren, big up to Jordan as well. I saw his interview with Conor Ben. I'm a big boxing UFC fan as well. And Jordan is doing big things, not only in this football scene, but in sports in general. So make sure you go subscribe to this channel as well. Coolest. He interrupts me with coughing this time. I'm bigging the guy up. Look at him, Channel 4. Look at the plug-in. No. Channel 4 need to give us some money for this, man. They're sponsoring the show, basically. We need to talk to them. Now, but big up Jordan doing big things.
Love, bro.
Channels. Coolest Disabled, that's Jordan's channel. Gooniverse News, that's James's channel. This is my channel, Big Six as well, and a lot more to come, people. But listen, very special guest today. Ex-pro, ex-England international, one of 34 players in the 100-goal club in this league, and a big Arsenal fan. Darren, thank you for coming on, my guy. I know, look, I'm seeing you on Sky Sports each and every week now. I'm seeing you here, there, everywhere. So it's appreciated that you gave us this up to an hour and a half now. So thank you for that, brother.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'll definitely come back again, man. Hopefully next time I come on, we're smiling because either Arsenal just beating someone or it's been good news around Arsenal.
Well, we'd love to get you on for the reverse fixture when we play Spurs, maybe on the reverse game. We'd love to get you back on for that one. And just plug your show, man. When people that don't know, everyone knows. For those that don't know, where can people catch you Monday to Thursday?
Yep.
Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday.
Drive.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Drive time. Talksport 4 till 7. 4 till 7 drive time.
Come on. Peak time, 4 till 7, people. Find Darren there. But listen, he's all over the place as well. A well-respected voice amongst the Arsenal pundits and community. Well, fan-wise. But yeah, Darren, thank you as always. James, Jordan, love as always. Community, hope you've enjoyed the show. Let us know in the comment section below. Whether you have or haven't, all feedback is appreciated. Be nice, be respectful, hit the like button, hype the video, subscribe if you haven't. More content to come out throughout the week. And we are back as Loose Cannons this Monday morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. it'll be out. So make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell on. And see you then, people. Love for the love as always. We're out. Peace.